Hello everybody, in today's video I'm talking about homeowners associations, and if you're thinking of buying a house, is it worth buying a house within a homeowners association, or should you look outside of an HOA and try to find something that has no rules and regulations? So in this video I'm going to talk about some of the pros and cons of buying a home within a homeowners association. My name is Dawn Dickinson. I am a licensed real estate agent in the state of Arizona. So if you ever have a question about buying or selling a home in Arizona, please reach out to me. I love to talk about real estate. You can give me a call, text, or an email, and I will get back to you. My contact information is always listed in the description below. Okay, so just a couple things about homeowners associations. It could be a little bit difficult to find a home that does not have an HOA. It seems like the national average, 40% of the homes are listed within an HOA that are for sale on a realtor MLS site. And in some of the newer communities, it could be as high as 65%. And in some communities where you have a lot of condos and townhomes, that number goes way up, like 75, 80%. So if you are looking for a home, but yet you don't want an HOA, that can restrict you. I know some of the areas in Arizona where I am trying to find a home for a buyer that does not have an HOA, sometimes that really limits us because almost all of the newer communities have them, and sometimes it's just really difficult to find a place without that. Now, that being said, the median HOA price in the United States overall is about $119 a month, which comes out to be about $1,400 a year, and of course that doesn't ever get paid off. Like if you have a mortgage, that will get paid off, but your HOA fee never goes away, so that can be a financial burden on some people as well. So let's go over some of the pros and cons of buying a home in an HOA. The first thing that really is quite a pro is sometimes you get some amenities that you wouldn't get if you had to purchase it on your own or if you were outside of an HOA. So something like a community pool, a community spa, that is a very nice amenity, and if you have to buy that yourself, it's very expensive, and if you have to maintain that, that's also expensive. You could have things like a tennis court or a clubhouse. Some places have snow removal and a parking garage, gated communities. All of those things can be paid for by the HOA, and that can be a nice thing where you have these features that you wouldn't have otherwise if you were buying those for yourself. Now, a con is that you may have some of these amenities that you're paying for every month that you wouldn't really use. And so if you have, say, a clubhouse and they're like, oh, you can have parties in the clubhouse, how often do you really have a party in a clubhouse? So you may be paying for stuff that you wouldn't need if you're in an area like Arizona where there's snow removal as part of the HOA, and it never snows. If you're in Phoenix, of course, if you're in Flagstaff, yes, that would be very handy. But so you may end up paying every month for an amenity, or like a security guard at the gate. Maybe you don't like that, so you may end up buying amenities that you don't like. So that would definitely be a con to some of the HOAs. Okay, another con of the HOA is there could be rules that you don't like that now you have to abide by. Very common in an HOA is they have rules about the paint colors. You can't have your house painted a certain color, and sometimes you even have to go to the board if you're going to paint your house and have them approve the color scheme before you can do it. I know when I lived in Phoenix many years ago, there was one guy, and he was a handyman. I'm surprised he did this. He painted his entire house without getting approval of the HOA, and they came back and they said they didn't like those colors, and they made him repaint the house like 5 minutes after he just finished that. And I was just wondering if that was kind of a power play, like how dare you paint the house without asking for it, or if the colors were really that bad. They didn't seem that bad to me. I might not have picked it, but to have to repaint your house because you didn't ask permission, again with the rules with the color palettes and what kind of lawn you could have, you might not go for that. And so that is a restriction, definitely con to living within an HOA. Okay, so another pro to an HOA is there could be maintenance included in your monthly fee that you don't have to pay for. Now, for instance, if you were in a condo or a townhome, you could get your lawn care taken care of. If you have a community pool, they will be paying for the pool chemicals and the pool cleaning. Also, like I say, in a condo or a townhouse, they often will pay for the exterior paint or roof or some of those things on the outside. So that could be very helpful if you don't want to pay for those yourself. Okay, so another con with an HOA is if you want to do improvements to your home, you may have to get permission and submit a request to an architectural review committee. I've had to do this a few times in my Sedona house. I put up solar panels. I had to put in a request for them to say, yes, you can put up your solar panels. I also had to put in a request because I wanted to raise my fence from 3 feet to 5 feet. So they did approve those things, but it's a little bit endearing that you have to go and put in a request to do those things. The same thing with paint colors like we were talking about. If you want to paint your house, you might have to put in an architectural review request, and then sometimes they only meet twice a month to review the requests that come in. You may not get an answer right away. Sometimes they say no. I did have a house in Phoenix maybe 15, 20 years ago where actually it was 20 years ago, we wanted to put one of those nice sunrooms on the back of the house, and it was a really nice design where you had these built-in windows, and they denied it. They said it wasn't consistent with their architecture, and we had to do the old-fashioned construction where you put up a framed in thing and fence it in, and it just looked really crappy. And if they would have just approved the original design, it would have been 100 times better. So having to do an architectural review request every time you want to make an improvement to your property, that can be definitely a con to living within an HOA. Okay, keeping that in mind, that can also be a pro to living in an HOA community because it can keep the neighborhood looking nice and consistent. It won't let your neighbor put in a giant metal barn in the front yard, for instance, or some purple color that doesn't look attractive. So some of these rules, even though they may be annoying and they may have to have permission, it does sometimes make your neighborhood look much nicer, aesthetically pleasing, and that of course will keep your home prices high if you don't have a neighbor that has sloppy add-ons or add-on that looks like it wasn't permitted or done properly, and also, lawn care issues and those types of rules. So even though the rules are there and you might have to ask permission, it can keep the neighborhood looking nice, and that could be better for your property values in the long run. Okay, another con to an HOA is the fees seem to always go up. Now, when you're looking to buy a home, I would suggest doing your research and see some of the HOAs have a cap on how much they can increase the price per year. So like I was saying, I own 2 homes. My primary home in Sedona actually is very cheap HOA, so that's really not an issue. I think when I bought in here, it was $220 a year, and it has gone up in 6 years to $300 a year. So that is annoying, but again, it's such a low price that it doesn't matter. Now, my townhouse in Chandler, I bought it during the pandemic in 2020. Originally, it was $180 a month, and now it's up to $240 a month. I'm pretty sure it'll be $250 a month. So just in 4 or 5 years, it's gone up quite a bit. And in that particular case, because it's monthly, it's more of a burden to see it going up. Now, on the other hand, again, it's a townhome, so there are more of the amenities in the townhome that I don't have to deal with, like the exterior paint and the roof and the lawn maintenance and the pool. The pool is really nice, especially in Phoenix. You go down for a weekend and it's so hot just going into the pool. If I had to buy a home in Phoenix that I was only there 4 or 5 days a week, I would certainly never pay to have a pool put in and maintained. So the fact that they have that is nice. But the fees always going up and never getting paid off, that can be a bit of a problem. One more thing that can happen with an HOA regarding fees is sometimes, this is particularly a problem in condos, and I'm seeing it happen very badly in Florida, is they may slap on you a special assessment where you suddenly have to pay $60,000 because it's not up to code for some reason for safety, or they have to re-stucco the exterior of the building. Now, if it's a responsible HOA, they should have enough collected in that monthly fee for that type of maintenance, but I have been seeing cases, especially in these condo communities in Florida, where remember a few years ago there was a big building collapse, and suddenly now all of the safety commissioners are going into the other buildings and making sure that they're up to code, and when they're not, who gets fit the bill? It's the homeowners. They get slapped with this huge $60,000, $70,000 assessment, and you have to pay it, and that makes the value of your home go down. I'm not seeing that all over the country. I am certainly think this is a horrible thing, but that's something that you might want to do your research on if you're looking, especially in a condo or a townhome in one of these areas that are prone to do these special type of fee assessments. Okay, now I'm thinking of another pro is there are some HOAs that actually provide you a little bit of some type of a homeowner's insurance policy. Some of them, like the townhomes, say they'll have a policy for the exterior and then you have to have another policy for the interior of your place, but that can be good. I've heard places like Hawaii might have condos where they have the HOA fee covering like hurricane insurance. Again, I don't see this in Arizona, but if you're in one of these areas that are prone to national disasters, look into that, because maybe if you have a blanket policy, it could be cheaper if it's covered in the HOA than if you would have to get that kind of insurance on your own. Okay, another con is that some HOAs are less efficient than others. Now, what I was talking about with this special assessment, really an HOA should have enough money covered in their account that when these things come up, they are able to pay for it. That's why you pay the monthly fee. Another thing is often when you are buying a brand new home, for the first time, there is a capital improvement fee or some type of assessment fee that's built in that at the time of your purchase, you pay $250, $500, $1,000, whatever it is, that goes into this fund to pay for such unexpected things. So some HOAs are very good and efficient on how they pay their bills and who they hire to do the maintenance, and others maybe are not so well. So again, just do your research to see how efficient the HOAs are, if there have been any complaints about them and those type of things, because not all of them are created equal. Some of them are much better than others. Okay, another pro, and this is a big pro. In fact, this one pro is what leads me to think that an HOA is important and I might only ever buy a home in an HOA area, is because it could resolve disputes that you could potentially have with your neighbors. A lot of places where I see in my area, which is in like Sedona Verde Valley, the non-HOA areas, you could see a house that's got, you know, 6 cars and a boat and an RV and like the entire lawn filled up with their junk. And if you don't have an HOA, there's really no way that you can resolve it. There are other things that they enforce that could be very helpful. In my community, Sedona, Arizona, we have a big problem with many homes being created and turned into short-term rentals. And in my HOA, that restricts short-term rentals lower than 30 days. So I won't next door have somebody buy a house and make it into a mini hotel where I've got a party every weekend with a different person living in it. So those types of things. Or say you have a neighbor that has 15 dogs. Now I have to say I love dogs. I have 3 dogs. But if you have a bunch of barking, loud, nasty dogs, the HOA could step in and resolve those types of problems that you could have that you wouldn't want to deal with on your own. Well, that's it, everyone. That's my list, pros of cons and HOA, and is it worth considering buying a house with an HOA or not? My name is Dawn Dickinson, the channel Living in Northern Arizona. If you like the video, please do me a favor and hit the thumbs up. That really helps me out. Also, consider subscribing if you're interested in real estate information, especially regarding the state of Arizona. I post videos on this channel every single week, so come back and see me again next week. Again, my name's Dawn Dickinson, so if you ever have a question about buying or selling real estate in the state of Arizona, give me a call, text, or an email, and I will get back to you. Have a great week, everyone, and I hope to see you back here again on the channel soon.